If you take the downtown 6 train past midnight and stay on after the conductor announces the last stop is Brooklyn Bridge, you might notice something strange. The lights flicker. The air feels different. The train slows. Just for a second, when it shouldn't. And if you're looking at just the right angle, into the reflection in the window, you might see a platform that doesn't exist on any map. Platform 13. Most people think New York's secrets are kept above ground, behind the glass of penthouses, or inside old money townhouses, but they're wrong. The real secrets are underground, humming just beneath the weight of 8 million lives. And some of those lives aren't entirely human. No one really knows when the first wizard arrived in Manhattan. Some say it was during the Dutch colonial days. Others insist it was even earlier, that the Lenape tribe spoke of sky-callers who could bend lightning into spears. What is certain is this: magic didn't arrive in New York. It was already here. But magic, like money, follows power. As Manhattan rose into glass and steel, a hidden city grew right alongside it, just beneath the surface. They call it the Underline. You can't Google it. It's not an abandoned subway route or a tunnel system. It's layered between reality, accessible only through fractures in space that look, to the untrained eye, like peeling tiles or graffiti that won't fade. To step into the Underline, you need 3 things: intent, blood, and permission. Most people never get the third. Elijah Cross did not believe in magic, which made him the perfect person to find it. He was a night archivist at the New York Public Library, a job for people hiding from something, or, in his case, people who were simply alone. It was 32, methodical, and allergic to chaos. He liked history because it was fixed. Dead men don't lie. Until one did. It all started with a book that wasn't in the system. Elijah found it on a returned cart at 2:17 a.m. The cover was plain black leather. No title, no barcode, no call number, just a faint symbol pressed into the spine. A circle split by a vertical line. He checked the archive database. Nothing. No record of it ever existing. And yet, it had been returned. So, he did what he always did when things didn't make sense. He opened it. The pages were handwritten. The first line read, Asterisk New York was built on a wound. Asterisk Elijah felt a strange tightening in his chest. He turned the page. The margins were filled with maps, distorted versions of Manhattan, subway lines bending at impossible angles. One location was circled over and over again. City Hall Station, closed since 1945. The abandoned jewel beneath the city, occasionally visible if you stay on the 6 train past its final stop, Platform 13. He told himself it was just a prank, some kind of viral marketing. Then he reached the final page. There, in fresher ink, were 3 words. Asterisk. You found it. Asterisk. The lights in the archive room flickered. That was the first night Elijah saw the reflection that wasn't his. In the dark glass of the library window, behind his own face, stood a woman. She wore a long charcoal coat that moved as if underwater, and her eyes were focused right on him. Espunar Hund, no one was there. When he looked back at the window, she was closer. You're not supposed to have that, she said. Her voice didn't echo in the room. It echoed inside his head. Elijah dropped the book. The woman stepped forward, right through the glass, as if moving from reflection to reality was just an option. My name is Seraphini Vale, she said calmly. And you just opened the door. Elijah's mind raced. Sleep deprivation, hallucination. Doors, he replied carefully, usually require hinges. She almost smiled. In New York, she said, doors require permission. And that's how Elijah Cross learned that magic in Manhattan is regulated. Not by the government, but by covenants. Centuries ago, when industrialization threatened to expose them, the witches and warlocks of New York divided the boroughs into territories. They wove enchantments into steel beams and subway rails. The Empire State Building isn't just a monument, it's a lightning rod for atmospheric spellcraft. The city itself is a spell, and it requires maintenance. Seraphine belonged to the Meridian Circle, the oldest magical covenant. They operated from the Underline, ensuring magic remained balanced and contained. "Someone is tearing the wards," she told him, "and they used you to test the breach." "I don't even believe in this," he muttered. "You don't have to believe in gravity to fall." She reached for the black book, but it wouldn't move. A strange pressure filled the air. Seraphine's expression changed.
"Oh,"
she whispered. The symbol on the spine began to glow faintly. "You've already bled on it." Elijah looked down. A tiny paper cut traced across his palm. A smear of red marked the final page. Intent? Blood. Permission. The room changed. The floor dissolved into tiled arches, and the scent of dust and iron filled his lungs. When the world settled, they were no longer in the library. They were standing on a subway platform that hadn't existed for 80 years. City Hall Station. Only now, it was lit. Candles floated in midair, and figures in long coats moved in clusters, murmuring in languages he somehow understood. "Welcome to the Underline." Seraphine gripped his arm. "You shouldn't be here." Across the platform, a man stood apart from the others. He was older, weathered, with a perfectly tailored suit. In his hand, he held an old metal subway token. "Elijah Cross," the man called out smoothly. "We've been waiting." Seraphine stiffened. "That's Magistrate Rowan," she breathed. "Do not answer him." Rowan smiled. "You see, the covenants were built on fear. Fear of exposure. Fear of humans. But New York has always rewarded those who adapt." The token clinked as it hit the tile floor, and the entire platform shuddered. "You'll think concealment protects us, but invisibility is extinction. Magic should not hide beneath bankers and influencers. It should rule them." Seraphine stepped forward. "You'll tear the veil. There will be war." Rowan's eyes gleamed. "Evolution." He looked at Elijah. "You are proof the barrier is weakening, an uninitiated human accessed. The Underline through blood alone. The city is choosing." "I didn't choose anything," Elijah said, shaking his head. "Didn't you?" Rowan asked. And then Elijah understood. The book wasn't misplaced. It was planted. He wasn't an accident. He was leverage. Rohan extended his hand. "Help me dismantle the wards. Stand at my side when the sky splits over Times Square. Be remembered as the man who ended hiding." For a moment, Elisha imagined it. Magic revealed, skyscrapers bending, the old rules collapsing. Then he thought of chaos, of 8 million people waking up to terror. He looked at Seraphine. "You maintain the spell," he said quietly. She nodded. "Every night. And if it fails, then New York burns in ways fire cannot explain." Rowan's patience wore thin. "You cannot stop this." Elijah glanced at the glowing book in his hand. Intent. Blood. Permission. Rowan had given him the first two. But permission. Permission required consensus. Elijah stepped to the center of the platform. "If the city is a spell," he said, his voice echoing, "then it has a foundation." He slammed the book onto the tile. The symbol flared violently. "I revoke it." The platform convulsed. The subway rails screamed. Rowan lunged, but it was too late, because Elijah had misunderstood one crucial thing. Permission wasn't granted by the covenants. It was granted by the city itself. And New York, ancient, resilient, and bruised, had decided it didn't want to be ruled by magic. It wanted balance. The wards didn't collapse. They transformed. Energy surged upwards, through tunnels and towers. For one blinding second, every reflective surface in Manhattan flickered, showing glimpses of the Underline to the world above. Then, it was gone. Silence. Rowan stood frozen. His token dissolved into dust. The magistrate was no longer a magistrate. Seraphine stared at Elijah in awe. "What did you do?" He felt different. Not powerful, but anchored. "I closed the wound," he said. Above them, the city continued, unaware. Or maybe just pretending. Officially, Elijah Cross still works nights at the New York Public Library. Unofficially, if you ride the 6th train past its final stop and stare into the dark window, you might see a man on a platform that shouldn't exist. He doesn't look like a wizard. He looks like a librarian. But in New York, those are often the same thing. And if you ever find a black book without a barcode, don't open it. Unless the city wants you to. Because in Manhattan, permission is everything. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales from the hidden corners of our world.